Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Adam, and as you remember from a previous video, we had the 2020 Toyota Supra. Last video, we did a tribute where we drove it up just like they did in Fast and the Furious to Neptunes Net on PCH. We talked a little bit about Paul Walker, about the incident that led to his death. Today, we are doing the full review about this car. If you want to see the last video, I will link it in the description of this one. But today, we're going to jump in. I'm going to drive the car. I'll tell you everything about this car. Toyota made us wait 22 years for this car. We are going to see if it lives up to the predecessor, which is the iconic Mark IV Supra. Let's jump right into it. We are in manual mode. Let's see how this thing goes. Oh, that sound is so good, and the turbo is so loud. This car does 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds, and the new model, the 2021 version, is even faster. The Toyota Supra not only is such a legendary car, but it was a pinnacle of performance for Japanese cars when they came to the US. We're going to jump right in and talk about how controversial this car really is with the main point, and that is how Toyota borrowed almost everything from BMW for this car. They basically took a BMW Z4 and we put a Toyota body over it. The engine is from the BMW Z4. The interior is almost entirely from the BMW Z4. The infotainment, the switches, the steering wheel, everything is from the BMW Z4. If you love BMWs, you'll love this car. And with how wide the rear fenders are, if you like thick girls, you'll love this car. Shout out to all my thick girls. The longer I look around in the interior, the more I realize even the door handle, the window switches, everything is straight out of a BMW. They did not put any effort into changing it. And the infotainment system is even entirely a BMW infotainment system. Doesn't say BMW anywhere, but I did find the BMW badge on the inside in the engine. You know, I'm very interested to see, are these cars going to suffer from BMW problems down the line? In other words, all the Japanese sports cars have always really held their value because they're ultra reliable and they're cheap to fix. This, although it has the good sides of BMW, like the interior quality, we also got a BMW engine, which can be a nightmare down the line. The torque is tremendous. I mean, the car wants to have so much fun. It wants to throw the rear end. You can tell it's a very controllable car. I mean, you downshift, you go, the back wiggles just a little bit, the tiniest bit to just give you that, your heart rate increases, and oh, there we go again. You see, I feel it. I feel the back give out just for a split second. You know, the car is just so much fun to drive. I mean, everywhere you go, you just want to switch lanes just to enjoy the handling. You want to downshift because it sounds so good. Oh, this is the GR model. This has the 335 horsepower, 365 torque. But from every video I've seen, people dyno stock cars, and the Supra performs at somewhere around 400 horsepower to the engine. So I definitely feel it. I would never have guessed that this is a 335 horsepower car. So let's talk interior for a minute. When I sat in this car, I gasped immediately. The visibility in front of me is this thick. I mean, you can barely see out of this car. I'm tall, I get it, I've moved my seat around. No, it is the slope. That's how they get such a cool angle on this car. They slope the front windshield, and this is one of the sacrifices. The Camaro is notorious for this. The visibility is horrendous. And when I look back, it is just non-existent. If I didn't have the blind spot monitor warning, we're wrecking into just about every car because I have no clue what's directly behind this point right here. The interior quality is tremendous. I have to say, I'm kind of glad we chose BMW for that. That's a company that's been doing it right for so many generations. I know a lot of the really die-hard Supra fanboys are gonna say, you know, I wish Toyota developed their own infotainment, their own interior, their own engine. I know, I listen, I hear you, but at the same time, we're jumping from a very reputable brand and we're getting the quality from them, from BMW. You can't go wrong with that, especially in the interior. The engine, however, I don't know why. This is a detuned version of the Z4 engine. So the Z4 produces a little bit more power, even though it's the same engine. The car feels really compact and it handles really sharply. I mean, I don't have really a complaint about this car. And when I look at the price range, it starts around $40,000, $41,000. That is a steal for this car. Handling on this is so stiff, and Toyota said it is stiffer than the Lexus LFA. And I mean, I go from one lane to the other in an instant like this, and it feels like a rock just moving. There's no rolling, there's no softness in the suspension, but it's still comfortable to drive. It's not horrendous. I've driven some cars that are just painful. Going back to the seats, you know, the longer I drive this, the more I realize something. These are not a very uncomfortable seat to be in, and they're tight and they're firm everywhere. I feel myself stuck in the seat, but I've been in the car for hours now and I don't complain. I have sat in luxury cars for hours and I complain. This is something I haven't felt in a car like this ever. Let's talk design for a minute. When this car came out in the auto show, everyone thought, okay, it looks really different and maybe it's gonna grow on us. And it does. The longer I spend time around this car, the more I like it. The car has gotten compliments everywhere. Sure, I've gone to beautiful sites near the ocean, so the red really flashes, but people stop, people stare, and when I've seen them down the road, they have such a low and wide stance thanks to those fenders in the back. It looks like a supercar coming down the road. The headlights are beautiful. That really long strip in the front. When you see it at nighttime and the daytime running lights are on, it looks like a spaceship coming down the road. This was one of the few cars that's able to pull off the whale tail in the back, and they've even exaggerated it. They've made it look so big, yet it still works with the design. The car does not need a spoiler unless you're doing some ridiculous form of tracking and increasing the power output by a substantial amount. The car looks great the way it is, and that's a key word I would say with this car. Everything is exaggerated. The rear fenders, that whale tail, the front headlights, everything is just stretched and big and muscular, but they put it all on this little BMW Z4 platform, and they pulled it off. The car has such an aggressive look from the outside, and it's thanks to all these vents and scoops and openings. But as you get closer, you look at them and they're all closed. All of them are fakes. I don't understand why Toyota did this. Why wouldn't they just open these up? And you can't have all of them be fake. One here and there is okay, but this is ridiculous. This is a really small car, but I'm taller and I don't have an issue. Now, I know, as you can see from the outside, they have these bulges for when you're wearing a helmet because it adds the extra height. So that works in my favor. But I know this car's not built for me because every single time getting in and out of the car, I bump my head right here. It's just too low for me. I just accidentally found something that is so bad about this car, it would actually stop me from buying it. There's something about the design of the interior and the way the airflow works. You know that feeling when you roll down one of the windows in your car on the highway and you hear that sound? That happens at all times when you lower any of the windows. You can lower both windows. I don't think the camera will pick it up, but let's hope it does. When you lower the windows, it is unbearable. This really means you can never drive with the windows all the way down. That is a major issue. I have to say, I went into this car not knowing too much about it. I didn't even want to learn too much about it because I want to experience it as a new driver, and I'm shocked, I'm surprised. The power delivery is so good. And the tightness, the rigidness, I mean, you feel so confident. It's a rear-wheel drive, but God, I could get myself in so much trouble with this car. See, okay, I like the car, but who do I thank? Do I thank BMW or do I thank Toyota for doing this? Okay, so Toyota made a great sports car, but they definitely needed help from BMW. Now, if you look at Toyota's other sports car, the 86, they needed help from the Subaru BRZ. They developed them alongside each other. The cars are almost identical. So what's the deal? Toyota, are you ever going to give us your own sports car that is developed entirely by Toyota and not a car like this that is built in Austria? Let's get right into my conclusion. I believe you should absolutely get this car. Even if you're looking at getting an M4 or a Porsche Cayman, go drive this car. You'll save money and you'll have a car that's just as fun. The car is so exciting to drive. I think you should definitely get the 2021 model, because I feel bad for the people who got this one, because 1 year later they increased the power substantially and it costs the same. It's still about $40,000, and in that price range I've been trying to think of a better car to get, one that has a greater history, amazing driving experience, great throttle response. The car feels much faster than it actually is. I mean, I can't think of a better car to get at that price. Toyota really delivered a great new Supra. I'm amazed that I haven't seen more of these on the road. I mean, I'm in LA. I know they don't offer a convertible yet, so that might be one of the reasons, but I mean, the car is just, it's affordable. Why aren't more car enthusiasts getting this car? I'll tell you, I wouldn't get this car simply because I don't know why they don't offer a manual transmission on this car. And of all cars that have come out recently, I mean, this one deserves it the most. It's a Supra. Only car enthusiasts are buying this car, and the only people who go for the manual transmission on any model are always the car enthusiasts. It's not the person who's just going to be driving back and forth throughout town. It's people who really enjoy the car, and this is that car. Why did they not give us a manual? They really screwed that up. Another reason I won't be buying this car is because oftentimes I like to roll my windows down, and you can't do that with this car. And with all that said, that's going to wrap up yet another video. Don't forget to watch the first part of this video. The link is in the description of this one. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next car.